Hello. Parents sometimes come to our rehabilitation center with a child who is stuttering. Stuttering is when a child has halted speech, something like this. And if a child has halted speech, then one, they carry the gene for stammering. Stammering is genetic, which means we have to be very, very, very patient. We need sabr if a child happens to be carrying the gene for halted speech, for stammering. Because if we respond to the stammering with harsh punishment or telling the child to repeat what he's saying or to talk more slowly and acting angry at the child, this will erupt into a stutter. And stuttering is always increasing a child's anxiety level, which makes it harder for the child to be able to talk in a clear tone of voice. That's why singing is a valuable tool to help the stuttering child stop stuttering. But the most important thing to avoid stuttering is if a child carries the gene for stammering and at age 1 you notice the child having halting speech, so he's not being clear as he's saying bidimai. If he has that, then it's important to wait for the child to complete his thought, his expression, his wording, and then model how to say that in standard language. So if your child comes to you and starts to demonstrate a tendency towards stammering, that means it's very important for everyone in the family to not ever punish the child for stammering, because then it will turn into a stutter that could last a lifetime. Certainly, speech and language therapy is a valuable way to help control stuttering behavior in a child. But the most important thing to understand is that when a child stammers, when they're initially starting to use language around age 1, and the adult gets angry because they're not speaking fluidly, this increases the child's anxiety and makes them even more nervous. So slapping or yelling at a child who stammers is what produces a child who stutters. So to avoid that from happening, we have to have sabr, patience with our children at all times in their first 3 years of life, to avoid the possibility of a child who carries the gene for halted speech, we call that stammering, to evolve into stuttering. So, to answer the question, what do you do if you've made the mistake and now your child does have a stutter? Then immediately seek speech and language therapy to help the child develop more smooth speech. And 2, isnain, start singing songs with the child, because when a stuttering child sings, guess what happens? They don't stutter during singing behavior. That's just how the human brain works. Stuttering only happens during regular verbal communication, not during singing. So engage children who happen to have a stutter in a lot of singing to help them control their anxiety caused by the halted speech that they have, and seek a competent speech and language pathologist to help them then develop a more fluid speech. Thank you for listening.
اتركي الضوء انزلي.